Don't I have that here? I guess I don't. I guess I don't. Well, what are we going to do? Turns out we're going to do a live little setup thing. I wasn't really expecting that, but we're going to do it. That's what's going to happen. Well, real quick, that's what's going to happen. Good. Ooh, we've got some roots showing. We've got an astro. It's very shiny. There we go. There we go. Had some interesting. I don't know if it's interesting. I don't know if any of this is interesting. Let's talk about astro for a second. To the two of you who are here, thank you. Oh, to the one of you who are here, thank you. Oh, the internet. We have an astro build in process that will be the third astro that we've made, and it will be the first one to have a carved top to it. And I'll say "and" a few more times, but I really like how the carved top version is coming out. I mean, like, I like the flat and the bevel and stuff, and I think if you kind of stick around long enough to understand kind of my build process when it comes to new models, is just kind of, for the most part, just make the thing. Just kind of, don't worry about the bells and whistles just yet. Just kind of, make the thing and see what you've got. I've also said that, I remember one of the things that Grover and I had kind of agreed on is that, you need to make about 3 or so before you realize what you've got. And I think I like that approach because, number one, I'm impatient, and some people, they're one of the approaches is just to, iron all of the details out and then make the thing. And I've always just been more along the lines of let's just do it and then refine as we go. Kind of like, quite frankly, that's how I communicate. I could communicate far more effectively, and this video is evidence of why I should maybe consider a more effective communication style. But, I'm 408 years old, and the cement is dry. This is me, for better or for worse. Ryan, impatience is my greatest virtue. I think I can appreciate that. Because, I want to do like a million different things, and I can't, because if I do try and do a million different things, I will do nothing, because nothing will get finished. So, did you hear that bell? I just got a text message, and I'm going to share it with you because this is exciting. It says, "Hello, Dr. Sullivan. I hope you're doing well. This is Ben with Epic Physician Staffing. I just wanted to reach out to you about several facilities needing help with radiology coverage. We have facilities in Texas and across the U.S. Do you have any availability?" Well, now, apparently, my career has taken a a drastic turn and change, because apparently some people think I'm a doctor. I find that exciting. So maybe I can actually make some real dough. Maybe we can work our way up to making minimum wage sometime. That'd be sweet. Dr. Sullivan. Anyway, patience, impatience. You hear that, Miss Sarah?
What?
I got a text message for Dr. Sullivan. Ben at Epic Physician Staffing wants to reach out because they have several facilities needing help with radiology coverage, and they want to know if I have any availability. We didn't have anything planned for today. We don't have anything planned for tomorrow.
Right.
I could. How hard could radiology be?
I think you should send them a picture just like you are now.
Should I send them a screenshot of? I think maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
Just go.
Like, I'm ready.
Let's. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I'll just take a photo with the thumbs up and say ready to go. Where's my phone? Would you mind grabbing me? Hey, sweetheart, would you be a doll and get me the phone? She's going to implant that in my forehead, which, quite frankly, is fine. See, it's catching on. Jeff says, "Good morning, doctor." Doctor? Like, was that in Fletch? Doctor? 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 Is it Spies Like Us? I don't know. Stu, greetings to Wisconsin.
Here you go, Dr. Sullivan.
Here, all right. So we're gonna take a photo here. I'm just gonna go. Let's see. How do we do this? We'll go like this. And I'm just gonna send that to him, and I'm gonna say, "Yeah, dude, totally ready to go." I'm gonna go, totally interested, ready to go today. I just need to take a shower. I just need to put this guitar down. Let's see, put this guitar down and hop in the shower. I'll send him the photo. Okay.
I'm going on my walk.
Okay. Mrs. Sully's taking a walk. All right, so here we go.
Might miss you, Dr. Sullivan.
You see? Okay, so I did. So there's the text. I sent them that photo. We'll see what happens. I used to be a locum tenens physician recruiter in a... Ryan, I don't know what those words are. Locum tenens? Iacum tenant physician's recruiter in a previous life. I have sent those. A phone call will be next. Well, hopefully they'll see that photo and realize their errors. But I do like the idea. So we'll see what happens. What are they talking about? Oh, yeah, just make the thing. So we've got an Astro in the process. And this one's funny because we all know that I'm a monster. And I have many examples of guitars that I've built that have either solid color finishes or sparkle finishes that have a flame top underneath it, like that. Hey, I did it! Sweet! That black one, the little amber part right there. Hi, I'm Amber. That's to show the flame top. Oh, Adam's here. Dude, you missed, I think, the best part. I got a recruiter text for a doctor. They're calling me Dr. Sullivan. So I sent him a photo and responded, "Yes, I'm totally ready. I just need to put this guitar down and take a shower." So we'll see what happens. But so this Astro that we've got in the process, we made the body, and it's, mahogany body, carved maple top, and a majority of the maple tops that I have that are thick enough for a carved top are they all have some level of figure to it. Not a ton, but some more than others, and some we probably should have done a nice trans finish on. And this Astro, this body, like the top on it, it's really nice. And we're supposed to put a sparkle finish on that because, that's what we do. And there's a part of me that's just like, we got to make another body. We got to set this one aside and make a nice top out of it. But then, and I was so close to doing it, but then I'm like, okay, I have some plain maple tops. I don't really have any mahogany on hand that is available for like, I don't have any extra. So like I couldn't like necessarily make a spare body for like a something that would get a trans finish. And then I'm just like, look, you don't need to spend money because like nobody's beating down our door for an Astro. Although I think, these things take some time and you got to show the people. I mean, I got to show you more than photos of one red one because, I do. And so I'm just like, I can't, we're just going to move forward. Anyway, cool story. So this is the first Astro. This one has led a pretty exciting life in the short time that it has been in existence. Let's see. It was in the videos for the Soldano Astro launch right there. So it lived with Perf de Castro for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, something like that. Kind of went around LA for a little bit. I know Stevie, the Buck Cherry had an LA gig and Stevie played it. Perf brought it to Stevie, and then Perf took it over to Scotty Hill's house. And because I know Scotty was super interested in checking one out. And so this one, it's led a good life. It had it got some battle scars when it was I think when Stevie had it. I think when things happen in the gigs, and that's not his fault. And a lot of times Stevie would be like, "Man, it's so shiny, it's so pretty. I'm afraid I'm gonna," and I'm always like, it's cool. Just play the thing, and whatever happens, and it's fine. But there was it had quite a ding that lost some finish, and I gotta say, I did all things considered, I did a fucking bang up job fixing this because it's like right on this edge here, and like, let's see, see that little doink right there. That's a little evidence of it right there, but like it's all I built it back up, and I don't think I didn't have the chip, so I that's pretty good. Anyway, cool story. But as I was kind of farting around with this, I'm like, oh, we've got something loose here, and it's the truss rod cover, and I'm like, well, okay. So I get my little kit here, a little screwdriver kit here, and I'm like, well, let's see where we are. This is a digital neck relief gauge. I love this thing. I love this thing a lot. I am in no way affiliated with G-Tech Guitar Works on eBay, but I will tell you, this thing is amazing. And what this does is it measures digitally the amount of relief you have in your neck. So I'm going to take a look. I did this before we started. And we're at 9 thousandths of relief. And Adam's watching, and Adam knows that that's too much for us. So basically, the way this works is, am I shouting? I feel like I'm shouting. So this sits on the first fret. This sits right around, I think, 15 to 17 or something like that. Let's see. It sits on frets 16 and 17. And this little guy here, there we go. This little guy here, this goes in and tells you how much deflection there is. So 10 thousandths is too much for us. We like it at 5. And so that means I need to do a truss rod adjustment. You are correct. I have a little too much relief in there. So that means that the easiest way for me to visualize it is the center of the fretboard is too low. So we need to push the center of the fretboard up. And to do that, we need to tighten our truss rod, which will raise the fretboard surface a little bit. Let's see. Oh, we got some comments. Let's see. Years ago, in an interview, Ed said, I play guitar. It's not like I do brain surgery. Brain surgery is much easier. That's pretty good. Hey, Perf. Hey. That would build number 3 for me. Oh, a carved top Astro with a flame top? If you want me to put that body aside, yeah, let me know. Good morning to you, Doctor. The Astro is hot. Thank you. I want to put one of these in the conspiracy series. I got to tell you, it's really hard to figure out what you kids will buy. Good morning from Sullyville. See, Dr. Nunez says that that's too much relief. It is. You do need relief for bends, but you don't need 10,000ths, especially when you've got when the frets are plecked. You can bend your face off, and I've seen it happen. A whole face-off situation where someone has bent their face off with 5,000ths of relief. So we're going to do that. So we remove the truss rod cover, which I've done, but it's held in place there. See, it's nice when that happens. And then we need, oh, you know what? I don't have the truss rod wrench that I love. It's like a screwdriver with a ball end. So we got to go a little different here. So I need a 4mm Allen wrench, which we have here. So this is the Music Nomad screwdriver set. Comes in a little handy dandy blue metal box. It's got this, screwdriver comes apart, and here it's got like ratchets for like common, guitar nut sizes and stuff like that. And so I'm just gonna do a little bit of a. Can I get this? I don't know with the strings. I don't know if I have a regular Allen wrench. Oh, I do. In the Music Nomad Allen wrench kit, or truss rod wrench kit, whatever that is. I don't use this one all that much. Although the one thing that is nice that this comes with, this is not, I use some of the Music Nomad stuff. I don't use all of it. This is a spoke wheel truss rod adjuster, which is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to get my 4. Where's my 4? I can't see a damn thing. Ugh. Just don't get old. That's all I have to say. Just don't do it. Okay. So we're going to do a little boink. It's really hard to do that with the string. Well, you could detune it. All right, so let's see if that gave us enough. You can get this on eBay. I have 2. We're at 6. Now, Adam's watching this, and he's going to be like, now, you better not stop at 6, because whenever I'm like, oh, it's like 5, 6, and, it always changes, and I'm like, get it to 5, because I'm a terrible person. Okay, that works just fine. Let's give it a second to think about what I've just done. We're at 5. Voice of an angel. Real pitchy on that higher part. Sorry about that. So we're at 5, and that makes me happy. So I'm going to put the truss rod cover back on. Did I really need to do that? Considering how much guitar I don't play? No, but we have some standards here. We have some standards. We want to have our truss rods where they need to be, because you never know when someone's going to come over and want to check some stuff out, and then got something it's at 10. You could launch arrows off of that thing. Aaron, hello. Johnny, good morning to you. Catfish, hello. So I'm going to put the truss rod cover back on, and quite frankly, this poor thing is just probably going to wind up going back in the gig bag and living its life in the closet. Guitars are for closets? No, closets are for guitars, not people. And I guess clothes too. Shoes, what have you, things you need to store. Okay, so we got that. One of the things that Kyle has suggested I do, and going back to earlier when I was talking about I want to do everything. One of the things that Kyle has suggested was a setup guide, and that could be something that if you sign up for the mailing list, you automatically get it emailed to you. That'd be cool. I'd be down for that. I have my other little thing here. This is these little bags. Great, got from flying around. This is a string action ruler. I just get $10 on Amazon. There's a StewMac one. The StewMac one's fine. I am not the kind of person that's your StewMac's rip button. They're fine. They have really good stuff. And anyway, so you've got your string heights here, and there's all sorts of things that you can measure with this, but I just use the string height. So we want 50 thousandths on the treble side at the 12th. That's good. 50 thousandths at the treble side and the bass side. So now we're good to go. Yay! So this is shut up. Cool story. What else did I want to talk about? Neck throughs. Hate making them. Sometimes they need to be done. If somebody orders something that specifically calls for that construction, in most cases, it is somebody wants a model that is usually a set neck, like an Astro or Concord or Trella, but want one humbucker. Can't do that on a set neck. Why? Because we like you, MOUSE. The way that we make set necks is, so here's the neck. This is glued into the body. The neck extends. I've told this so many damn times. This is really, you're probably going to start throwing shit at me. Probably not, but people will stop watching. People are going to stop watching anyway. It's fine. Neck extends into the body, and the neck pickup cavity erases all evidence of that. Say, in comparison to a junior style, which is a one humbucker guitar, as far as I'm concerned, it should be. And there's a pick guard that covers the neck blank extension into the body. I don't really care for pick guards unless it's an absolute part of the design aesthetic. So and there's a couple of other ways that you can do a one humbucker. You could make a really long neck extension that extends all the way into the bridge pickup. So then it just winds up looking like a three-piece body. And that would work. Um, Run into some issues if you have like a carved top, because like, you know, that doesn't work. But anyway, so the way around it is usually for us is we just make it a neck through guitar. Um, the reason that I don't like making them is that it just takes a lot longer. It's a lot of extra work. It's a lot of extra focus. And it's not to say that I can make these things in my sleep, but you know, with what we do on the regular, I kind of have that process, um, you know, kind of sorted out. One of the things that is one of the things that I don't like about making them is that it's very unsafe for me to make them when I would make them by hand. That means, you know, you have bandsaws and router tables and stuff like that. And for example, like if I'm cutting out the headstock, the way that we're doing these now, you know, neck blank, I still cut these by hand. So I cut this out on the bandsaw, a template goes on here, and then this goes face down on the router table, the spinny bit of death, and then, you know, there's a bearing on the router bit that rides the template, and it cuts it out in this shape. Now, it's very difficult to do that when you've got, say, a center block that is maybe rock maple. Why is it difficult? Number one, it's an awkward position that you have to be in. It's very dangerous because you're dealing with a spinny bit of death, and you have to, you know, you have to kind of keep this down on the table while you're, you know, keeping this thing, you know, supported and up in the air. And it's real dicey, and it's even worse. It's even worse if somebody wants a non-reverse Raven headstock. Why? Because we like you. I know you, Nancy. I wish I had a neck here that I could just kind of show you, but I don't, so I'll grab this. So going along these lines, excuse me. So if I'm gonna machine this, this goes all the way, this goes face down, spinny bit of death, cutting around here, and, you know, cutting around here. The area that wants to tear out, the challenging, the area that wants to tear out is going to be over here as you're coming around the corner. And then, you know, you're going to have to kind of bring the bit into like a cul-de-sac as you're coming around here. But you can kind of nibble this down until it's manageable, and you just kind of do it one pass. But this part, like, this is end grain, and it is more dense. It's a harder surface. You ever see like the like checkerboard cutting boards? Some of that is visual, but also when you do checkerboard cutting boards with your end grain facing up, it's a much harder surface. So it's nice. And so if we're doing a non-reverse headstock, what happens? So we're just gonna take this. So I'll start over here, and then I go into here, and this is, I feel like I talked about this last week. I gotta stop talking about this. This is a collision to a certain extent, because, you know, there's no, you're taking this spinny bit of death and you're just going into this area here where it's taking off a lot. And I'm explaining this, the words I'm using to explaining this are I English good, but it can be very unpleasant. Because, you know, going into here, and then you got to come out and then around and all up here. Anyway, so I really don't like doing it. But if we can do it on the machine, that helps a few things. Number one, it'll be safer for me to do that, which is nice. um, you know, I am not afraid to accomplish certain tasks that are maybe a little sketchy, but that's just kind of how I figured out how to do something, because I do come from a background of absolutely zero woodworking training other than 7th grade wood shop, and I didn't enjoy that. So some of the things, some of my habits or methods of doing things involving routers might be a little sketchy, but it's something that I'm used to. I have ways to mitigate the sketch. So there's that. And the other thing that would be nice is if I could have, solve the whole thing about doing headstocks by hand. If, we have part of the fixturing where the machine will cut the headstock out. And the nice thing about that is, again, added safety and yeah. So in part of this, I made a couple of comets. I did the woodwork, in December. I got to move these things along, but those comets are neck throughs, and I tested this concept. I've been working with someone for about coming up on, definitely over a year and a half, who has been helping me with improving our CNC processes and how things get machined and stuff like that. And they have been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful help on many levels. So we came up with this way to cut the headstocks out, and these comets were kind of a test for that. This kind of testing out this whole, how do we improve the neck through process? And so that worked. And then, so there are some fixtures and some templates that have to be made to kind of work for other guitars. And I made them. And so this past week, I spent all of Thursday, all of Friday, and I need to do a little bit more working out how to make a neck through one humbucker Concord. Because I wound up with an order for one, and so we gotta make it. I gotta figure it out. We gotta make these things happen. And why does it take so long to do that? Because it's just, there's so many other things that we've got to do. So I've made this neck through one humbucker Floyd Concord, and it'll be top loaded. So we'll get to use some more of these metal pickguards. Although I realized that, so this is a 22 fret Concord, and the one that I made is a 24 fret Concord, and the body is a little different, especially as it relates to this side. So this can't be in the same location. It needs to be shifted down a little bit, and then if we're doing a one humbucker, we don't need a volume and a switch. I could, I guess, in theory, kind of open up this hole and put like a kill button in there. But like after this is shifted down, the location for the controls to me aren't exactly where they need to be. So that means I have to make more of these for one guitar. But that's okay. That's okay. I have an idea. You can get like there are companies that you can use to cut those things, and I've used one called Send Cut Send, and that's really good, but it can be expensive if you just want one thing. So like you can go to like Lowe's and get like a brass door kick plate, same material, and we can just cut that out on the machine. So we'll do that. So I've got this thing, and another thing with that is I don't have to solve this for this particular order, but because this particular order has a figured top. So with Concords, the output jack is on the back. I'm not drilling this. I'm not, well, I haven't up until recently. The way that we do that is we take the body blank and then we put the wire channels. Normally, this goes from back here up into the pickup cavity, and then all things pass through the bridge pickup cavity, but it can get a little congested. So I decided, so normally, yes, we do that, and then the top goes on, and then we move forward. So, making Concords is kind of involved anyway. But I have two tops that are big enough for a Concord. Because these things are big. It takes up, when it's cut out, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. But when you need a blank or like a figured top, it needs to be pretty wide. And while I do have a couple that'll work, if the test is no good, then I've got one less. And so I'm like, okay, well, we'll just make it without the top. And we're just going to figure out the drilling where we're going to do it. And I did a reel, like a time lapse reel of me doing that. And basically, once the neck through blank was machined, we've got that. And I did kind of like an engraved line that kind of shows me the angle that the drill bit needs to go and stuff like that. And, you got to do it before you glue the wings on. So you drill through the center block, and then you kind of, take this piece and kind of clamp it to this. And then you drill through the part that you already started on the center block into where your control cavity is. That's the word. And then you take that off, and then you can you can clamp the other piece on, and then you just go the other way into that. And so I had an idea where this was going to be. So I drilled a hole, and I'm just drilling to the hole. And you can, drill bits like to wander, because, as it's cutting through, it's going to take the path of least resistance. And sometimes, many times, especially if the bit is thinner, it's not strong enough to go the direction you want to go. So it's going to kind of, move around. So with drilling, it's a lot like life. It doesn't always matter where you start; it's where you end up that matters. If you have your angle off, you can wind up blowing through the top or blowing through the back. Done it countless times. It's terrible. It's we do this in class. It's when people are drilling their holes like into various control cavities and stuff like that. Before we flip it over. It's like that Schrodinger's cat. I don't know. It's in the box. It is both alive and dead at that moment, because you just know. So, there's that thing where you feel the bit break through to where it's supposed to, where you think you want it to terminate, and then you stop, and then you flip it over. Oh, whew, I made it, or I didn't, and then things go smashy smashy. That's happened plenty of times. Love that Concord. The one that I'm making, I know that you prefer 7s, but this one that I'm making, it doesn't have an owner. Oh, hell yeah, Sully time. Let me tell you a little bit about Alex Kelly. I love his enthusiasm. It is infectious, easy to catch. Yeah. I don't know that I've heard someone say, oh, hell yeah, with as much conviction as Alex Kelly. And I encourage you all to get to know him a little bit. Really? Tell me. This is good. This is good behavior. People need to tell me what they would spend their money dollars on, because what I think people would spend their money dollars on is often not what people spend their money dollars on. I've made cutting boards I made one for my mom. I made one for Mrs. Sully. Both have shared it's too nice to use as a cutting board, which I get. So I guess you could use it as like a tray. Um, but yeah, it's oftentimes I've made them out of like neck blank scraps. So yeah, haven't done an end grain board yet. So if you're going to do end grain boards, now people that are smart will tell you this, and you probably know this already. Don't run it through a planer. End grain and planers, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. They do not mix. It is an amazing way to explode, blow things out, do all kinds of bad things to your surface. You have to run them through drum sanders, or if you've got access to a CNC machine, you can fly cut them. So yeah, if you make end grain cutting boards, no planers. Hey, Noodles. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you. I will say that things are definitely not as rosy as they appear on the internet, but thank you nonetheless. It's a nice of you to say. Shark cutie board. That's right. We'll make one of those. Yeah, but when we got the laser, that was kind of like this whole thing. We finally got something that we can make a bunch of live, laugh, love signs and other terrible things like that, and make some actual money. But as it turns out, this current job keeps me pretty busy and doesn't really give me the time to make live, laugh, love cutting boards for people. Maybe live, laugh, loathe. I don't know. Word art in general. We got to get rid of that. There's so much actual art in the world. We should get rid of the word art stuff. The believe. I mean, it's nice to have the affirmations. Don't get me wrong. We've all put a Post-it on the mirror. It says, don't drive off the cliff today. You may not think you have some value, but somebody out there probably does, maybe. We've put those notes on the note. Just me? Okay. But yeah. So, we've there's like those LED little signs, that kind of, they glow, it's like clear acrylic. We've made a few of those, like Sully related ones. What else? I would like to use the laser, like that laser cutter. Like it's a whole can of worms. To figure out, and it's once you think you kind of have your settings set for a particular thing, if you use a slightly different material, oh, guess what, that laser's completely different, and none of those settings are any good anymore. It's a finicky thing, the laser cutter. Well, probably isn't if you spend some time and dedicate yourself. I know a lot of things in life are probably like that, but I'm just trying to get through the day. Okay, I'm talking to this guy over here. Thanks. Thank you very much. Don, thank you for saving me from this. Good morning to you. So I think in this description, I talked about conspiracy series updates. Let's talk about that real quick. So the last batch, the most recent, the run 6. So that's got Concords, it's got the Michael Sweet Supernova, it's got the Trellas, it's got, goodness, what else? Some 624s. All of those things are on a boat right now on their way to us. That should hit the port of Los Angeles pretty soon. Well, it will hit pretty soon. And then it has to be unloaded from the ship, and then, kind of processed out to me from there. So we're almost there. I don't have an exact landing date yet because I don't. It's not quite like, I can track the boat, but there can be things like, congestion at the port, time takes to unload and get through customs and all that stuff. So they will be. I know that they will be here within the next. Within the next 2 weeks, and then we're gonna have to go through QC. One thing that I'm glad though is, and so normally that whole process shuts everything else down, and I really want to try not to shut everything else down because, quite frankly, I need to not be able to shut everything else down. Um, but on the other hand, it's in my best interest to get these things moved through as fast as possible because we've all been waiting. Yeah, all of that is true. One thing that I'm really glad about is, when I went to the factory in mid-July, I wrote down, I documented, I went through every single guitar in that shipment in one day. Let me, I can't stress in no uncertain terms. It was a ton of guitars to go through in one day. But I did it. And, I did have an inspector over there prior to me going. And, I wasn't really stressing, like when I was going through the guitars, I wasn't really sweating like the setup because that doesn't matter. Because we're gonna do when those guitars get to us, and they're gonna go through so many different climates and changes in temperature and all that stuff. So like that part doesn't really matter. If like the strings are a little high, big deal, because they're always a little high when they come to us. But I was just looking for finish and stuff like that. And so I wrote down. I had a pretty good method. I wrote down every single serial number. Took photos of every single guitar. So I've got them in this notebook, and that's what I'm looking at right now, of all of the notes of everything. And I think before the guitars get here, I need to put all of that in a spreadsheet that I can then refer to when the guitars get here. To see if I can kind of like, here's the guitar. What did I say in July? What do I see now? Is there any, was I being a little too critical? I was told I was being a little too, not a little too critical. I was told that I was being way too critical. But I'm hopeful that when I get to see the guitars again, I can look at them and say, yeah, I was being real pissed off about things. And I don't say that to say oh my God, what's coming? Like, everything's gonna be great. But I know that I see things different from to varying degrees from day to day. I think we're all like that. So that's that. Those guitars are coming. Thank you for those of you who ordered them. Dealers will get theirs, and then we'll make available what we've got to. And then pre-orders are up now for this current run. Now, this current run is way more focused. It's just 3 instruments, and there are no options. And they're pretty cool instruments, I think. They're all based on customs that I've made over the years that I've liked, or they've been modeled after things that get a positive response on social media, because that's important for me to look at. But I'm also thinking of what the next little batch is going to be, and I have an idea. We'll have, I think, we'll definitely have a 624 in the next run, and we'll see what else. The thing that I like about this shift is that we'll be able to get them faster, so that's good. What song is that? What else? I think that's it. I think that's it. That's all I got. 100%. That's all I got. Tony, good morning. How are you? How you doing? What's going on with you? Anybody have any questions? Anything you want me to talk about? I am looking into part of the next run. I need to look into what the Michael Sweet Alita is going, like, to see if we can do it. It is a challenge to do those because those, like, the graphics. It's challenging to do them. Well, it's challenging to do them, but in the conspiracy series, there's an extra layer of, like, because on any guitar that comes from overseas, if it's got a graphic on it, that is a decal. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But we may, let's say we order. Well, if you're going to get decals, you've got to get a lot of them, and you're not going to use all of them, but you need to have a lot of them. And so, I got to pay for those, which is, you build that into the cost. But, like, anyway, so with the people have reached out wanting to know if we'll do a version of the Alita that Michael Sweet has. You'll see it on tour. They're doing like a 40th anniversary tour, and that Alita was kind of made to be used for the parts of the show that is, their earlier catalog. So people have shown some interest. I would, it's in my best interest to meet those demands. And we'll see. I'd like to, but it definitely won't. Like, the graphics definitely won't wrap like it does on Michael's, because that's really expensive. That paint job for me alone was a lot. Anyway, we have a question on your conspiracy series. Are replacement parts metric? Probably. What do you need? I don't have any thoughts on them. I think that someone said that if you're going to a concert, you're going to see the band. You're not necessarily going to hear the band. I think that people can do whatever they want to make sure that the show is as good as they want it to be. People can use background tracks if they want to. They cannot if they don't want to. And I'll, as an example, a few years ago, Mrs. Sully and I, we saw Lindsey Buckingham, and some of those songs he had some backing tracks, backing guitar parts, because it was him, and then he had another musician that he had another guitar player, and then he had another who played keys and guitars. And, like, sometimes some of those songs, there's so many parts going on that if you don't have all of them represented, you might miss out on something. So is anyone giving Lindsey Buckingham shit about it? Probably not. I understand that there might be a difference between doing what Lindsey does, and maybe there are artists out there that the whole thing is a lip syncing performance. I don't know. I'm not really here to be anyone's authenticity police. So yeah, I don't really have an opinion on it. PC, sir. I'm not lying. I don't have an opinion on it. If Motley Crue or any other band want to use tracks during their performance, they can. we all have the option of going to a show or not going to a show. I don't really go to many shows. Most of the reason is that, like going to like a big show. That's very restrictive financially, and yeah. Don't need parts. Just curious. So like, yeah, like volume pods, stuff like that. Well, like some of it's pretty universal, but if you run into something, let me know. I started typing this earlier and got interrupted. If you made a CS Astro with a Floyd and a Silverburst finish, I would like my. Oh, well, that's good to know. Silverburst is a tough one, I think, to get right because it's real. It's tough to fade the black, and I think a lot of times when I've seen Silverburst finishes, it doesn't look good because it's like a hard black line, and yeah, doesn't look good. But it's good to know. Good to know. Good to know. I'm always trying to think of, what would somebody like to have? There are, one of the things that's coming up in the conspiracy series is I can say that there will be a lot more options and flexibility without giving things away. And then you might say, well, but so we're being a little more focused. And like, well, yes, that's true. So how are we having more options and flexibility? That's a great question. Word. Okay, so we got 2 more minutes left to go before this clocks out. So with that Concorde that I've been working on the past couple days, the last thing that I need to do is the headstock operations, and it just needs to cut out the headstock shape on the machine. And as long as that goes okay, like nobody owns that guitar. So if somebody wants to buy it, I will absolutely look after you, especially if we don't, well, I mean, there's not a lot of options that we can really add to it because the woodwork will be done. So if somebody wants it, I will 1,000% look after you on it. Your approach needs to be the same as, thank you. The thing with like shooting a sunburst or any kind of bursts, what I personally have always done, and this is not like a big secret or whatever, but when you're spraying the burst, you have to, like, your aim, I always aim a few inches like outside of the thing I'm trying to paint. And that way, if you need to add a little bit more around the very edge, it's a little more gradual. That's one thing. Sometimes I miss painting, but not enough to actually really consider how to do it. Although I really, 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 a million times at infinity wish that I could bring them in-house. It would save me a lot of... it would just save me a lot of things: time, money, aggravation, shipping, which falls under the money part, which drives all of this. Give me some money, like a Spinal Tap song. Anyway, we're winding down. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the day. I would like to finish off the little conky, but I can't, so we'll do that when I go next. Maybe I'll try and play guitar. I'm not going to. Have a lovely day. Have a nice weekend. If anybody wants to buy anything that we've got in stock, reach out. I will